Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth. Down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Monday, February 23rd of 2026. We welcome you into the Chad HD Show. A lot to talk about on the program today. Boy, do we have some guests lined up for you today and, the rest of the week. We'll have candidates rolling through the studio and on the phones, giving their final pitches to everybody as this is the final week of early voting here in Texas. Final week of early voting for the upcoming Republican and Democrat primary elections. You've got candidates who are still going to be coming through Lubbock and holding rallies. You had Democrats who've been in Lubbock the last 2 days, and oh my goodness, if you pay attention to the social media, oh my gosh, something's happening in Lubbock. Look at all the people turning out for James Tallarico. Look at all the people turning out for Jasmine Crockett in Lubbock, Texas. It has to mean something is going on, or maybe just some people have free time. And it's not too hard to fill up a wedding venue. Either way, the candidates are swinging through the West Texas area. We'll get into the candidates, at least the Democrat candidates for U.S. Senate coming through Lubbock. That's nice of them. We'll talk about that, their appearance, and anything that has been out there for what they've had to say. I've seen a lot of photos, haven't seen a lot of quotes, haven't seen a lot of people just excited or anything that the candidates have actually said while they were in West Texas. But hey, it's still early. Maybe that will. Maybe that'll happen at some point. So we've got that to get into on the program today. We've got a story out of the Texas Tribune that we'll get to a little bit later on about Texas students. I guess they are complaining because they're not seeing equal payoff when it comes to higher ed. So we'll get into that issue a little bit later on. Violence in Mexico over the weekend. We're getting closer to possible airstrikes in Iran. We can talk about that on the show today. We've got a couple of guests for you. Coming up at 5:35, we have Robert Schmad, who is an author of a piece in the Washington Examiner about one of the candidates in the Texas 19 race. Really hasn't been reported on locally, from what I have seen. But an interesting piece. We'll get to him about that. It briefly came up in the debate last week that I moderated, going back to a question that was directed at Abraham Enriquez. And so we'll get into that story. It's made national headlines. It's brought in a former or a current member of Congress commented on the story. And so it's a legitimate news story. We'll talk about it. And later this week, we'll actually have Abraham Enriquez on the program to talk about not only that, but other points that he wants to get across in the final days of his campaign in the primary. So we have that going on, and then coming up at 6:35, Nate Sheets, that Texas Ag Commissioner's race is really heating up now. And so we'll visit with Nate Sheets coming up at 6:35 about his campaign and what he wants you to know as the campaign is, I hate to say coming to a close, but it's, this is the final week, final big push for any of these campaigns when it comes to getting people out to vote and why they need to be voting for them. We've got candidates throughout the Texas 19 race who will be on this week. We will be getting into some of the other campaigns as well. We've got candidates all week long who will be stopping by and giving us a call on the phone. So where does that leave you? Well, anytime we don't have a guest in the studio or on the phones with us, your chance to sound off on the issues of the day, the topics that you want to talk about. You've heard from everyone else all day long. Now it's your chance, your opportunity to have your say on any of the issues that you'd like to talk about. Maybe you've got questions about some of the different races, some of the different campaigns out there. We can get into those as well this week, anytime you want to this week. You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can, when you do text in, give us your name, where you're listening from. That way we can give you the proper acknowledgement and shout out whenever you text in. We can also get you on the app. That's right. Tap the app. Send us a message on your station's app, and we can get to those. You can not only send a text through the app chat, but you can send us a voice memo, video, whatever you may want to, right through the your station's app that you're listening to us on. On social media, you can find us there at Chad Hasty Radio. That's Chad Hasty Radio on social media. And yes, the old-fashioned way of doing things, where you just give us a call at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. And the first voice you hear from when you dial in today, it's always good to see our good friend Nick on the other side of the glass. Nick, how you doing?
Doing well. In fact, you've rattled off quite a few big newsworthy events and things that are going on, I guess, recently. You know what I've been getting a lot of? I've been getting updates from.
What's that?
The U.S. Olympics.
Yeah.
The Winter Olympics.
Yeah, that thing's over now.
The U.S. team. I'm still getting. I think
it's over.
It is.
Okay.
I believe they had their closing ceremony
last night. How about Team USA hockey?
That's what I was going to say. That's something I'm not an avid Olympics fan.
Yeah.
Why I'm getting these, I don't know. But boy, am I getting inundated with the progress and the very impressive performance by the USA teams in a variety of sports, which I think is great. You know, we're keeping our name out there. But again, why I'm getting this, I don't know. Do I follow hockey? Never.
Yeah.
Do I follow figure skating?
Do you have
Never.
like any news apps on your phone or anything?
I do.
That's why you're getting them. It's a news item.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
I guess
Not
it
every
is.
Olympic sport, but usually the news will send out whenever an Olympian wins gold for the U.S., for Team USA, that's when.
And that's why I've been getting a lot of figure skating, which has been hitting the news.
Yeah.
Lots of gold medals there. And then the hockey team, of course.
Yes.
I believe, what was it, the since 1980? I think we're at 46 years since the last.
And I think that's what kind of surprised. I mean, unless you're an avid watcher, I didn't realize that Team USA had not won since 19. Yeah. And I knew we had gotten close a couple of times, but it was like, wow, we haven't won since the Miracle on Ice, and Team USA hasn't won since then.
No.
And again, Team Canada, obviously very good. They're
Did they do well?
They came in second place.
That's okay.
They got the silver.
That's not bad.
Very unhappy about it.
Really?
Yes, it was a lot of fun to watch the medal ceremony. As Team USA, they're just sitting there. They're eating it up. They're excited. They're happy. And then it goes to Team Canada.
Yeah.
And
sad.
they were just angry.
Well, is hockey not the sport of Canada.
That's their sport. And so basically, as an American society,
sure,
our fourth largest sport, okay,
is hockey.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, as far as conference, things that are a major.
You got football, basketball.
Yeah, you got
baseball.
You got football. You got. I would say baseball is still probably bigger than
NBA?
Basketball. Yeah.
Oh.
I would even say if you want to throw in college football
above NHL.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would say NFL, then college football,
and we still won.
Then baseball, then the NBA. And if Caitlin Clark is playing that night, Caitlin Clark over the NHL.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say so.
Ouch.
Yes.
Okay.
And of the list of important sports that Americans care about, and let me tell you, during a winter Olympic season, curling may beat out hockey.
I was going to say curling was big.
Yes.
Everybody's talking about the curling.
Once every 4 years, Americans like myself, we go nutso crazy over curling. And we're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Is it really that exciting?
I'm telling you, you watch it and you just get sucked into it because you're like, I think we all watch it and go, I could do that. I think
curling's one of those where it's like, put me in there.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
Pay me. Yeah.
Yes, I can sweep.
Sure.
Let me show you how I can
every
sweep.
day.
Yeah, I can do that.
I could push a rock.
Gliding across the ice with a rock.
Yeah.
It's graceful. I think I might be able to do that for half a second.
Yeah. You just need like a few hours to practice with the skates.
Yeah, you got to get limber.
Good. Yeah.
Stretch a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. Put me on there. Put me in the Olympics.
Yeah. And so I think, again, it's just for a few days every 4 years. And then you're going, oh, man, curling was awesome. That was amazing. And then after the Olympics, you're like, so opening day's coming up. All right. Baseball's coming up. Oh, the NFL draft is coming in. You completely forget about curling unless you're in a northern state like Minnesota. They still love curling. They're good.
Sure. Yeah. I'll do you one better. Up until this point, I had no idea when the Winter Olympics ever took place.
Yeah.
So you know what? I learned that. Kept up with a few new sports like curling, figure skating, and hockey. And I learned too that hey, there's more sports out there.
Yeah.
Than the Olympics and the Super Bowl.
There are more sports out there.
Who
yes.
would have known?
Yeah. The figure skating. I still whatever.
That's not a sport where you say, put me out there?
No.
You don't think you could do the figure skate?
It's not. It's one where I don't even really. It's hard. I get it.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
It's a different type of entertainment.
It is. Yeah. Like, I just can't sit there and go,
oh, look at them.
Let's go. No,
they're having fun out there.
I can't. I can't just. No, I can't do it.
It's similar to me, like watching. Like, I'm not going to sit and watch a ballet performance.
Yeah.
Even if it's ballet on ice. Still, it's not my. It's not what I would want to spend my time.
Right.
I respect those who do it.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of training.
It's a lot of training.
It's a lot of endurance and leg muscles. Sure.
Yeah.
Am I going to watch?
Yeah, probably
not.
Yeah, no. But yeah, congrats to Team USA, the men's and women's teams, by the way, decimating Canada, just absolutely decimating Canada. And I think Team USA is going to be at the State of the Union address on what is it, tomorrow night? I think is the State of the Union. I think the men's hockey team is going to be there, so that should be a rowdy experience for everybody. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
When you see a car that's been in a bad crash, it's no accident. When it backs traffic up for miles, no accident. And if there's a fatality involved, somebody died. That's no accident either. A lot of the time, It was speeding. And it's no accident that speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. So slow down, be safe, drive smart. A message from TxDOT.
Make KFYO your number one preset on AM and FM and put the KFYO app on your phone or tablet's home screen. The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
All right, back on the Chad HD Show. Thank you for tuning in today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can weigh in on any of the topics, any of the issues that you'd like to get into on the program today. A very interesting story that's been developing out there, and it's a story that first came up really, I think about a month ago, when Current Revolt reported on an aide to Representative Tony Gonzalez, Republican who's running for re-election. She had set herself on fire. And there was news around that death where apparently Gonzalez was having an affair with her, and it's come out that he was indeed, and pressuring her to send him pictures of her and to do very naughty things with him, and she did not like feeling the pressure. So far, at least 3 prominent House Republican women have castigated the GOP Rep. Tony Gonzalez, applying major news pressure on the Texas lawmaker to address accusations that he had an affair with a staffer who later died by suicide. Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado became the first Republican lawmaker to call for Gonzalez's resignation. That was followed by Representatives Anna Paulina Luna of Florida and Nancy Mace of South Carolina, both prompted to speak out by the release of new alleged text messages between the lawmaker and his subordinate. Separately on Monday, in his first comments on the matter, Speaker Mike Johnson called the allegations very serious, declined to comment further. Representative Brandon Gill, fellow Texas Republican, also called Monday for Gonzalez to end his re-election bid. Gonzalez, who is in his third term representing potentially competitive South Texas district, and previously denied having an improper relationship with the staffer. The allegations have come under intense public scrutiny in recent weeks as Gonzalez faces a heated primary election fueled by widespread speculation about his future in politics as he faces potential ethics investigations. Boebert told Politico that newly released text messages published in media outlets underscore the need for Gonzalez to resign, saying that they were seemingly show a perverted boss drunkenly coercing a vulnerable staffer into explicit conversations, pressing her for sexy pictures, and asking for her favorite sexual positions. Politico has not yet independently reviewed the messages. They're out there, though. Quote, this kind of power, abuse of power, has no place anywhere, let alone Congress. Tony Gonzalez should be ashamed and resign immediately, Boebert said. Luna said on X that every single member of Congress should be condemning a sitting member of Congress for asking for explicit photos of their staff. In comments to reporters Monday, Johnson said Gonzalez must address the allegations with his constituents, but the speaker, who is struggling to maintain a razor-thin majority, did not pull his endorsement of the Texas Republican. Now, there are some who are also calling for Trump to remove his endorsement of Gonzalez. The latest polls show that Gonzalez may lose lose out completely without even a runoff. He's facing a primary challenger, Brandon Herrera, for the second time. Brandon Herrera, he's a kind of one of these YouTube influencers. Goes by the nickname the AK guy. Herrera only lost to Gonzalez by several hundred votes back in 2022. He's now calling on Gonzalez to step down for congressional Republicans to rescind their support for the incumbent. Even Laura Loomer has come out going on social media for Trump to rescind his endorsement of Gonzalez. So this will be... remember what I said the week before last. You don't have to vote early, and this is an example of why you don't always want to vote early, folks. Because there could still be some... This doesn't happen in every election cycle. It definitely doesn't happen in every single campaign. But do you think there's someone out there who voted for this guy and now they go, ooh, wish I wouldn't have voted for him. Ooh, wish I had that vote back. I'm telling you, that's why you wait. It's why you wait. It's why I personally feel that we should only vote on Election Day. Everyone has the same amount of information. You go out and vote. We'll be right back.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Pedal to the metal. Greased lightning. Burn rubber. Make tracks. Full gas. Whatever you call it, it's speeding. And a heavy foot can cost you a heavy fine. Or more. Speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas. Many of them fatal. Slow down. Be safe. Drive smart. And take it easy. A message from the Texas Department of Transportation.
TSN headlines. Governor Abbott is directing the Texas Department of Public Safety to surge resources to the border region in, quote, response to escalating cartel violence in Mexico. Mexican security forces killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. Mexico's security secretary says 25 National Guard members were killed during operations targeting El Mancho on Sunday. Do Democrats have a chance of turning Texas blue in November? The latest poll from Hart Research shows that if the general election were held today, Democratic Senate frontrunner Jasmine Crockett would beat GOP frontrunner Ken Paxton by 4%, 49-45, and similar results from a recent poll from the University of Houston. Early voting for the Texas primary runs through Friday. The primary is March 3rd. The 8-Ball and Lavender fires in the Panhandle are now both fully contained, despite having burned a combined 32,000 acres. Dangerous fire conditions persist across Texas. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Former lobbyist Sid Miller is flying high, and Texans are paying the price. As Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller spends our money traveling the globe with 48 taxpayer-funded overseas trips planned this year alone. And while Sid Miller travels the world on our dime, foreign adversaries like China and the Muslim Brotherhood are buying up Texas farmland from right under our feet. It's why Governor Abbott called Miller an utter failure. But thankfully, we have a choice. Abbott endorsed Nate Sheets as running for Ag Commissioner to put farmers first. Nate Sheets is a proud veteran and Christian who built America's #1 honey company from a single beehive in his backyard. As Ag Commissioner, Nate will fight to improve the bottom line for farmers and ranchers and help Trump stop foreign enemies from buying up our land. Governor Abbott, Texas Farm Bureau, and the Texas Cattle Raisers stand with Nate Sheets. Vote conservative Republican Nate Sheets for Ag Commissioner.
I'm Nate Sheets, and I approve of this message. Political ad paid for by Nate Sheets Campaign.
On this
this Monday evening. The temperatures are going to be dropping the first day of the week back into the mid-30s, about 37 degrees. High temperatures on your Tuesday at 82 degrees. That is about a 15-degree jump in the temperatures from Monday to Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, the temperatures in the mid-80s. Weather brought to you by Sonic and the American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts on Lubbock's official web station, News Talk KFYO.
Financial news on KFYO.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei will be meeting this week with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon. The topic will be how the military will be able to use Anthropic's AI models, but negotiations have hit a bump in the road over the terms of use. The startup wants to have assurances that it won't be used for autonomous weapons or to spy on Americans. Software concerns, along with worries about tariffs, sending Wall Street sharply lower today. The Dow Industrial average off 822 points, ending the session at 48,804. The Nasdaq was off by 259 points, and the S&P 500 down 71. Amazon is going to be spending $12 billion on data centers in the state of Louisiana. It will also include the infrastructure to power AI and cloud computing. The two campuses in the northwest of the state will create 540 full-time jobs and another 1,700 to support the sites. That's Your Money Now.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Buck Sexton here to remind you to come hang with me and Clay Travis weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You'll laugh, you'll learn, you'll never be alone.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's The Chad Hasty Show.
Welcome back to the Chad HT Show. Appreciate you being out there. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, sound off on any of the issues of the day, any of the news events that you want to talk about. Feel free to dial in and get your thoughts out there. Yeah, tomorrow is the State of the Union. You've got that out there. And that's something that I think a lot of folks will be watching. There's a story out today that Democrats are trying to, I guess, leadership within the Democrat Party. They don't want to look crazy. Which, hey, good luck, right? But they apparently they don't want to look crazy, and so the Democrats they're trying to say that hey, we don't want to have a repeat of the last State of the Union. We don't want the party to be do anything outrageous, anything crazy. Was it Al Green last time who stood there with his cane and started shaking it at Trump? Yeah, so I guess they want to prevent what happened at the last State of the Union address, the Democrat leadership, because they don't want to look crazy. Now, you've got a number of Democrats who are already saying that they're not going to show up, that they're not going to appear at the State of the Union address, which is fine. That's fine if you want to protest by not showing up. I don't think anyone's really going to care. You'll be able to raise some campaign bucks off of that, I guess. But the Democrat leadership, they've said, no, we don't want the party to look crazy like they did last time. Well, good luck on that. Let's see, a story that came out. When was this? When did this come out? Back on February 11th. And this is a story that you would think that some of the local media would cover. No one locally is really, none of them have covered the story. We've talked about it here on the show a little bit last week during the debate. Brought up some of the comments made by Representative Luna in the debate. But the headline here from the Washington Examiner: Hispanic conservatives accuse House GOP hopeful of defrauding donors and activists. And joining us on the phones right now, one of the authors of this piece. You had two authors here. But one of the authors of the piece, Robert Schmad, joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. Robert, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, Chad. Doing great. Glad to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you taking some time to join us. This is a pretty in-depth piece that you and Christian wrote a couple of weeks ago over the Examiner about Abraham Enriquez and some allegations that have been brought up. And I want you just to kind of take the audience through the story and the accusations that have been brought up and what, if any, response you've had from the Enriquez campaign.
Sure, Chad. So there's sort of two strains to this story. The first having to do with his financial disclosure forms, and the second having to do with Ben Venidos, which is this right of center conservative Hispanic outreach nonprofit he ran. As it related to the nonprofit, we spoke to roughly a dozen sources, a lot of whom opted to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation, who alleged that in running this group, he would make promises to donors that he wouldn't end up fulfilling. And this would look like him saying, hey, I'll get you in the room with these powerful, policymakers on the right. I'll do outreach to policymakers on your behalf. And we had a bunch of sources alleging that even though money was flowing into his nonprofit, these meetings that he was promising were not occurring. He did not have the connections he claimed to have, and that's what we were told. Enriquez, of course, denied this flatly and argued that, indeed, they were making these outreach calls, but again, we had roughly a dozen people tell us that was not the case. As it related to his disclosure forms, when we look at his forms, the interesting thing is he had reported donating loaning $100,000 of his own money to his congressional campaign, which we thought was odd because on his disclosure forms, he only listed income from Ben Venidos, where he drew a very modest salary between $20,000 and $50,000 per year, depending on the year. We actually got him to admit that they had omitted his primary source of income from the disclosure form, and what that source of income was $10,000 a month from this company called Get Choice that he gets paid on retainer. And the reason why that is important is Get Choice is run by this man called Enrique Javier Loya, who's a Mexican-American entrepreneur who has spent a lot of money trying to ingratiate himself in the GOP. So you have Enriquez here, whose primary source of income is a guy who is trying very hard to get influence among Republican policymakers. So as you can imagine, having that kind of arrangement going into potentially a seat in the House of Representatives presents a sort of clear way for him to be influenced.
Yeah, and so it seems like it's concerned some people, including a current member of Congress in Representative Luna.
Yeah, she actually served as Bienvenidos' vice president for a period before being elected to Congress. So she had an inside look into what was going on within the organization. And as she described Enriquez as electing him would be like, I believe her wording was setting off a pressure cooker or a pressure bomb in D.C., something like this. The way she describes him almost makes it sound like it could be another George Santos kind of situation.
For those who, at least out here in West Texas and the big country and this part, for those who aren't familiar with George Santos, what would that comparison be?
Yeah, so George Santos was a congressman from New York who got in a bunch of trouble for sort of shady campaign finance movements and also overinflating and lying about his professional credentials. So maybe the connection here would be we have Luna and a dozen others who are alleging that Enriquez is sort of talking up his nonprofit work in a way that isn't corroborated by the facts. And, the idea would be if that comes out after he's elected, if what we were told is substantiated by hard documents, that he was taking money from donors, making promises and not delivering on those promises, that could be a very bad look for him and could potentially end up with a major scandal in Congress.
Yeah. What have you heard since the story came out? It's been out there since the 11th. Locally, none of the news stations have really touched this locally that I know of, that I've seen out there. I don't know if that's surprising or not, but when you have allegations like this against someone running for Congress, you would think it'd be a big deal. Have you heard from anybody else, any other concerned parties at all about this?
We have not gotten a whole lot. We've had a lot of people sort of approach us after. I understand that the story got a fair amount of buzz among sort of power players locally. My co-author understand that. However, we haven't seen, as you mentioned, a lot of local media coverage, which is sort of surprising because this is their purview. They should be the ones investigating these, primary candidates, providing voters with a full picture of what's going on. And it's sort of unfortunate that didn't happen initially, and that now that the story's out there, it doesn't seem to have broken into West Texas media that much.
Yeah. So Enriquez, and I can just tell you what he said during the debate. I don't have it word for word in front of me, but he kind of cast Luna off as just someone who is, she used to work for the company. Yeah, she's mad at us. There were some disagreements there, and just it seems even in the piece that he kind of dismisses everything as, well, these are just unhappy people. These are just people who are unhappy. Is that kind of the sense that you get as far as what his argument is against some of these quotes?
Definitely. I think that's accurate. And what I would kind of go to is if it was just one or two people making these allegations, it could very well just be a he said, she said story where, who really knows? But we've had roughly a dozen people talk to us, and when you have that many people approach you for a story and all give sort of similar accounts of what's going on without coordinating with each other, that in my mind speaks to the strength of the story and its truth. Having a dozen people giving similar accounts of what it is like working with this guy, what he's done in the past, I think that is something that they didn't really grapple with in their responses to us, and I think that is perhaps what they should have focused on rather than just giving flat denials. Anyone can give a flat denial. Actually grappling with the facts of the story is a bit more difficult.
In the story here at the Washington Examiner, y'all reported on, I guess there's this brochure for Benvenido, and at the $100,000 annual contribution level, donors were told that they would receive an honorary spot on the Benvenido board and private calls and reunions with top Trump administration officials and more. Is that normal that a group would promise for $100,000 phone calls with a top Trump administration official?
That is not normal at all. At least to make the pitch explicitly like that. That is pretty wild in the universe of political fundraising. And also, we have to understand, Enriquez, to my knowledge, is relatively recently out of college. That he's boasting these connections, I think, were I a prospective donor, I would find that a little bit suspect. And indeed, a lot of the sources we talked to claim that these private calls and reunions never actually occurred. Of course, their financials aren't fully public, so we don't know how many people took them up on these so-called pay-for-access deals, but certainly the ones that did, we have a number of sources claiming that these rendezvous they were promising did not occur. So both sort of abnormal, and then also there's the angle of the possible disingenuousness.
Robert Schmad at the Washington Examiner. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks for kind of explaining this article. It's one of those where, I think you kind of have to go over it with the author of the piece as well, just to get some insight into what all was going on. And like you said, if this were one or two allegations, you guys, y'all are a legitimate news site. That's something that, you're not going to run with just somebody who is, upset. You said you had dozens of people. I guess there's non-disclosure agreements. Is that why nobody wanted to be named?
Yeah, they sent out a lot of cease and desists, a lot of non-disclosure agreements. So people they're very litigious. So understandably, our sources were reluctant to be named by name. However, I can assure you, as you said, the Washington Examiner is a legitimate news organization, and we vet everyone who talks to us, and we compare what they tell us against what records we have. So we tried very hard to make sure that this was as above board as possible. And yeah.
Were they sending out cease and desist while you guys were trying to find out information, or was this beforehand?
This was before. Honestly, that would be a better question for my co-author. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, interesting. Let's see, Robert. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate it. And of course, you can find Robert's work over at WashingtonExaminer.com. Appreciate your time, Robert. And we'll be keeping up with this story. That's for sure.
Okay, thanks so much for having me, Chad. I appreciate it.
You bet. Robert, that's Robert Schmad over at the Washington Examiner. Appreciate him taking some time to join us. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Securing America. A top defense contractor is relocating. Boeing recently announcing that it's moving its defense, space, and security headquarters out of Arlington, Virginia, after about a decade there and going back to St. Louis. Writing in a statement, the decision to move its defense headquarters emphasizes the company leadership's, quote, commitment to being present and engaged with teammates who are designing, producing, and delivering vital defense and space products and capabilities for customers in the U.S. and around the world. A lot of the company's products are designed and manufactured at its former site in St. Louis. Boeing added they want leadership in close proximity to workers to strengthen its core business and drive innovation in defense solutions. Missouri Republican Governor Mike Kehoe calling the move a major win for the heartland, adding, Missouri is the best place in the nation for aerospace and public manufacturing, and having Boeing Defense Headquarters back where it belongs is a win for our workers. Tom Graham, Fox News.
Live local talk on Sundays. Reason, Religion, and Reality, a radio project of the Constitutionalist Society, LLC. Sundays from noon to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO and the KFYO app.
Back on the Chad HD Show. By the way, we'll have Abraham Enriquez back on the program, not tomorrow, but Wednesday. And we'll kind of go through some of this. We'll also talk about some of his other campaign issues that he wants to get into and everything else. And so tune in for that on Wednesday. Tom Sell will also join us on Wednesday. So that's going to be we got lots of candidates on this week. Nate Sheets coming up at 6:35 this evening. He's running for Texas Ag Commissioner out there. That race really beginning to heat up in the last week to go for early voting. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. One texter complaining about the guy's cell phone. Look, sometimes cell phones don't sound great. Sometimes in office buildings and everything else, cell phones just don't sound great. I don't know what to tell you. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing we can do about it. It happens. It's not the greatest, let me tell you. With all the things that have improved about cell phones, the call quality has not. Video? Sure. Great. That whole audio thing, doesn't always get better. When we come back, your phone calls, your text. The Democrats have been in Lubbock and they're showing up in numbers. What does it mean? Yeah, we'll talk about that when we come back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
The Chad Hasty Show podcast, available on any podcast platform.
Find it on Apple, Spotify, the KFYO app, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com.
Check it out.
The state, the nation, the world. From a Texas perspective. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO Lubbock.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
Rhode Island gets rocked. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. This blizzard of 2026 officially rewriting the history books for Rhode Island. At 1 p.m. today, the National Weather Service confirmed the snow at Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport reached a staggering 32.8 inches. This total officially breaks a long-standing record for the greatest single snowstorm in Providence, Rhode Island history, surpassing the legendary blizzard of 78. In Central Park in New York City, snow totals as of 1:30 p.m. was 19.7 inches. Fox's Tanya J. Powers is in New York with more.
Thousands in the Northeast are dealing with power outages and travel shutdowns due to the nor'easter. Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker says her city has more than a foot of snow.
Travel is very difficult, and in some areas, it is nearly impossible this afternoon. So again, for those who do not have to travel and drive, we encourage you to stay inside.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani echoed that call while delivering unwelcome news to students.
I hope our students enjoy their snow day today and stay warm and safe throughout, but I do have some tough news to share. School will be in person tomorrow. You can still pelt me with snowballs when you see me.
Snow totals in Central Park have passed 19 inches. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Well, the FBI investigating after an armed man was shot and killed yesterday trying to enter President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Here's Fox's David Spunt with more.
Even though the president was not at Mar-a-Lago, he was in Washington when this gunman breached the security barrier. It still calls into question the perimeter itself and what needs to be done to make sure this does not happen again. Now, the suspect, 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin, he breached the scene around 1:30 a.m. on Sunday holding a shotgun and gas canister. He was reported missing by family in Moore County, North Carolina.
The FBI is looking at the suspect's social media profiles, cell phone messages, and talking to family and friends to try and figure out more information. America's listening to Fox News.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK on Tuesday morning with Tom Collins and Matt Crow.
The prize of Canadian Texas. Ken King, who is in the Texas House representing District 88, will be in the studio talking about his campaign.
Also, Cheryl Isaacs, Coldwell Banker Real Estate, talking about real estate facets that you need to know. It's all coming up in the morning, Sunrise LBK on KFYO, the news and talk of West Texas.
Monday evening, the temperatures are going to be dropping the first day of the week back into the mid-30s, about 37 degrees. High temperatures on your Tuesday at 82 degrees. That is about a 15-degree jump in the temperatures from Monday to Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, the temperatures in the mid-80s. Weather brought to you by Sonic and the American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts on Lubbock's official web station, News Talk KFYO.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
All right, welcome back. Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you being out there today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. Final hour of the program. Nate Sheets coming up at 6:35 this evening. He is, of course, challenging Sid Miller in the Republican primary for Texas Ag Commissioner. We had a texter during the break, Rick in Lubbock, weighing in. I'm exercising my own take on term limits by voting new candidates to replace Sid Miller and Sean Cornyn. Interesting. And from Rick in Lubbock, for all the people who talk about wanting term limits, and a lot of voters out there do talk about term limits, you have the ability to term limit people. They're called elections. You've got the ability to do it already. I know that there are people, and it seems like everybody running for Texas 19 is, they're all about term limits. It's not going to happen. If you're waiting for the House to term limit themselves and write themselves out of a job, don't hold your breath. It's not going to happen. I mean, you'd have to really completely start over. And even then, I'm telling you right now, those who want to get rid of the swamp, it's not the lawmakers that are the swamp. People get confused about that. It's not the lawmakers that are the swamp. It's not. I mean, you've got lawmakers who are the problem. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the lawmakers that are the swamp. It's the bureaucrats behind the scenes. It's the people who have, you go back and look at Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci was never elected. He wasn't. Anthony Fauci was never elected. The people behind the scenes in the FBI and CIA and the Department of Justice, the people of Homeland Security who rise to they're the people who you don't really hear their names ever. They're not elected. Many of them have been there their entire career. And many of them will just wait out this president. If they don't like this president, they'll wait out this president, go for a next president, and that's how you get the swamp. That's why I'm not necessarily gung-ho on term limits. If you've got an amazing state rep, if you've got a really good senator, I don't necessarily want them out of there in 12 years. Now, do I think that it has to be a career for you? No. But if you're doing really good really good work, if you're doing a really good job, why would I want to limit you in why would I want to limit what Ted Cruz is doing right now? Even though I've had my disagreements at times with Ted Cruz, overall, I think Ted Cruz is a fantastic senator. Why would I want to throw him out and take a chance on someone being just as good? I don't know about that. Maybe you get someone who is just as good. Maybe you don't. Maybe you get a race where you look at everybody and go, "Oh, this is the campaign of." Have you seen the ad where is it like the what is it called? The choice of mess, where you look at the menu and it's a menu. You look at it, you're just like, eh. Well, what if you get that in a future U.S. Senate race, where you look at the choices and go, oh. This is totally uninspiring choices here. Could happen. So this idea of the swamp, it's not necessarily elected officials. Yeah, there's some elected officials who get ingrained into the swamp, but the swamp, they're the unelected bureaucrats. If you want to make some real changes, maybe you make it a change. Maybe you have career term limits in Washington, D.C. You can only, I don't know, you can only hold a certain career in D.C. for 12 years. Then you got to go somewhere else. You got to move to Ohio or something. You can only live in D.C., work in D.C. for about 12 years. Then you got to go somewhere else. You got to move out. You got to get out of the bubble and go somewhere else. Maybe that's something you do. You have an Austin swamp. It's not as crazy liberal, but it's, it can be establishment. It can be moderate. So you've got a swamp in different places, and it's mainly unelected bureaucrats who are ingrained in, and it doesn't matter who the elected official is because they'll outlast the elected official. Anthony Fauci outlasted a lot of elected officials. He outlasted a lot of presidents, a lot of senators, a lot of congressmen. And he made a lot of money doing it. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Let's see. Texter, I have no sympathy for Americans in Mexico. That's a weird text to have, a weird thought process to have, but okay. I mean, it may not be your idea of a vacation, but for a lot of people it is. Yeah, I'd feel bad for any American under fire from the cartels, even though I don't plan on going to Mexico anytime soon. I'd feel bad for Americans who are under fire there. You don't think it's going to hit a resort town? There's been this idea that these cartels don't hit resort towns. They don't want to hit Americans. They don't want to start that. I'm starting to think that really they haven't cared about that in a while. But these resort towns are going to become they're going to become war areas very soon. And you're going to see more of that, whether it's in Cancun or, Cozumel, wherever it may be. You're going to see more of this. And it says a lot about the Mexican military and about the Mexican government that a drug kingpin can be taken out. And this is the result. This is what happened. The images that you saw in Mexico yesterday. And by the way, if you didn't see the images of how armored up the Mexican drug cartels are in Mexico, go back and look at that. Go back and see what type of armory they have. They've got armored vehicles. They've got everything they need to take over. Well, I mean, they already have control of the Mexican government, in my opinion. But they're ready for a war. They've been training for a war. Absolutely. 806-680-2790. Had a app chat. This from Chris on the app chat. Chad, any thoughts on James Tallarico coming to Lubbock yesterday? Heard he had a big crowd. Jasmine Crockett was in Lubbock today, apparently. Yeah. So you had Jasmine Crockett in Lubbock today. And You had James Tallarico. What was it? Yesterday on Sunday, he had an event downtown, somewhere in downtown Lubbock. Some event, a little wedding venue is where he had the event, and he had you had Jasmine Crockett this morning having her deal. I've yet to see any quotes from either of the rallies that were held in Lubbock. But I do think it's funny. Anytime, and this happens, it happens in Amarillo, in Abilene, all these places where it's a red city or a red area, and Democrats turn out, and you have more than like 100 Democrats who come out. Like James Tallarico probably had about, it looks like around 600 people who turned out. Jasmine Crockett maybe had about 600 to 800 people who turned out for her deal. So what? You know, the campaigns, they'll send this. They've got a job to do in the campaigns. They want to build momentum. They want to build up this. Ooh, look, Lubbock County is coming. This is a county that votes red. Yeah. And if you've been paying attention to early voting numbers, the Democrats are still far behind Republicans. Big time. Lubbock's not about to turn blue. Now, are Democrats enthusiastic? Are they excited? Sure they are. Are there more Democrat votes out there right now than there were maybe 20 years ago? Yeah. Yeah, probably so. But Texas is, again, Lubbock ain't turning blue. I remember when Bernie Sanders came here and he was campaigning for, what was that guy's name? Beto O'Rourke. And they filled up the Civic Center Theater. And you had people going, oh, this is it. Look, even in West Texas, Beto and Bernie, they're filling up the Civic Center Theater. I've been in Texas, is going blue. It's about to happen. Ted Cruz crushed Beto O'Rourke out here. Absolutely crushed him out here. It was a very close race statewide, but he still won. Cruz still won, and that was with the power of Beto O'Rourke. And the news media was all behind Beto O'Rourke. They're not all behind James Tallarico right now. They're not all behind Jasmine Crockett. The race could go either way between Jasmine Crockett and Tallarico. Actually, I saw a video of a voter, some white lady out there who she was crying because she loved Jasmine Crockett, but she voted for James Tallarico because she wanted to vote for someone who was more electable. Who says Jasmine Crockett isn't as electable as James Tallarico? Who says that? But I love seeing some of the pictures and comments made on social media of, oh, look what's happening. Lubbock, Texas has a big crowd. Big crowd for Democrats showed up. Okay. And? That's okay. Or that's great. That was a day of early voting for the Democrats in Lubbock County. All right. Good for them. Jasmine. By the way, I saw pictures. Jasmine Crockett had private security here. Did you know that? She had private security. They were all loaded up with AR-15s. I thought she was against that. Yeah, I thought Jasmine Crockett was all against AR-15s being used. I guess not when you're being protected by people. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Nick, this is your phone here in the passenger seat. Look at me.
No, I'm driving.
You got a text. It says, "Yo, dude, your friends are fascinating. Let's text them back."
It can wait.
Sports app. Oh, you gotta see this play.
Later.
Hey, you got invited to a party. We need a RSVP now.
Phone, silence yourself.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
The easiest way to get your news is through News Talk KFYO. AM and FM presets in your car or truck. A bookmark on your office computer and on your phone with the KFYO app. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
TSN headlines: Governor Abbott guaranteeing a Republican victory in the race for Senate this November as the polls give Democrats hope. Abbott took to Fox News this weekend to start campaigning against Democratic hopefuls. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and State Rep James Tallarico. The polls show Crockett and Tallarico are gaining momentum, and the latest poll from Hart Research has Crockett beating Attorney General Ken Paxton in the general election by 4%. A 23-year-old man shot and killed by ICE agents while vacationing in South Padre nearly a year ago. San Antonio Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones demanding answers. A family in Donna, Texas files a lawsuit against ICE for a raid at their home in South Texas a month and a half ago. Humberto Garcia says ICE pointed weapons at him, attacked him, and did not identify themselves. The Uvalde School District could release more documents related to the Robb Elementary shooting 4 years ago. This comes from a judge's order to release the papers because of a request from the media. With your Texas News Headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Former lobbyist Sid Miller is flying high, and Texans are paying the price. As Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller spends our money traveling the globe with 48 taxpayer-funded overseas trips planned this year alone. And while Sid Miller travels the world on our dime, foreign adversaries like China and the Muslim Brotherhood are buying up Texas farmland from right under our feet. It's why Governor Abbott called Miller an utter failure. But thankfully, we have a choice. Abbott endorsed Nate Sheets as running for Ag Commissioner to put farmers first. Nate Sheets is a proud veteran and Christian who built America's #1 honey company from a single beehive in his backyard. As Ag Commissioner, Nate will fight to improve the bottom line for farmers and ranchers and help Trump stop foreign enemies from buying up our land. Governor Abbott, Texas Farm Bureau, and the Texas Cattle Raisers stand with Nate Sheets. Vote conservative Republican Nate Sheets for Ag Commissioner.
I'm Nate Sheets, and I approve of this message. Political ad paid for by Nate Sheets Campaign.
On this Monday evening, temperatures are going to be dropping the first day of the week back into the mid-30s, about to 37 degrees. High temperatures on your Tuesday at 82 degrees. That is about a 15-degree jump in the temperatures from Monday to Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, the temperatures in the mid-80s. Weather brought to you by Sonic and the American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robert to Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Has anybody told you about Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Coast to Coast is one of those programs that deals with strange mysteries. We'll look at Bigfoot. We'll look at UFOs. We'll look at real science. And we'll also look at conspiracies and what it all means to you, the listeners of Coast to Coast AM.
It's the best in overnight talk radio. Coast to Coast AM.
Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Tonight at midnight on KFYO.
Fox on Tech.
Neither upstate New York nor Long Island will be getting driverless taxis just yet, and New York City may not have them for much longer. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul is pulling her proposal to allow self-driving taxis outside of New York City, claiming there's not enough public support for the autonomous car services. Waymo, the self-driving ride-hail service, has been testing within New York City since last summer, but their license expires at the end of March. and a renewal isn't guaranteed. While New Yorkers who are fans of high-tech robo-taxis could be disappointed, the move by the governor is welcomed by the New York Taxi Workers Alliance, representing nearly 30,000 cab drivers, which fought against having the self-driving taxis, just like they fought against rideshare services like Uber and Lyft, giving rides for less than taxi fare rates. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
It's the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, back on the Chad HT Show. Thank you for tuning in today. The primary season, boy, it's heating up, and this is the final week to get out and vote early. And for many of you, you're probably going to wait until Election Day to get out and vote. That's not a bad idea. As you have campaigns still going back and forth, and a lot of campaigns up and down the ballot that maybe you haven't decided on. Maybe this is one of those races you haven't decided on either. In the Republican primary for Texas Ag Commissioner, we have joining us once again here on the program, Nate Sheets. Nate, welcome back. How are you today?
Ted, my man, we are great. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. Appreciate you taking some time to join us today. It seems like this campaign, or the campaign for Ag Commissioner, is really heated up in the last week or so. Lots of accusations flying back and forth, it seems now. I want to ask you something, just that Commissioner Miller has said that he's not going to talk about it. His campaign is not going to talk about it, but they've tweeted about it quite a bit, and that is this accusation. And I'll just kind of read. He retweeted this back on, I guess it was yesterday. How does a guy with a long history, talking about you, how does a guy with a long history of adultery, alcoholism, porn addiction, who called Texas workers lazy, used H-2B workers in his own business, who said the FAA is a useless debating society and has never raised a crop, end up as the Austin Swamp's choice for Ag Commissioner? That's a lot of accusations. I'm going to let you go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, that is, they are desperate, and they are behind, and they know it, and so they are throwing all the mud against the wall. And so, what he is referencing on all of these things is a very, very, very public podcast that I did back in 2012, just about being sexually abused growing up at age 5 and 10, and being exposed to pornography at that time, and that led to a lifelong struggle that, yeah, I did. I ultimately was unfaithful to my wife, but God used that in our lives. I was in full-time Christian ministry at the time, and so resigned, and then went through years of counseling and with my wife, and we really felt like it was the best thing to allow God to use it to make an impact in other people's lives, about being very vocal about it, very transparent about it. And I spoke at probably 3 or 4 conferences and spoke on multiple podcasts. And what they did is they went out and they took an audio clip off of a video podcast and distorted it to make it sound like there was something I was actually trying to hide. And there was no hiding anything. It's, again, it doesn't take long to go see it if you want to go see it. And I encourage anyone who's gone through sexual abuse or struggles to go watch it, because the goal of it is to allow God to use it to bring glory to himself through my own sinfulness. And so, Sid has taken something that, should not have been distorted it for political gain.
When it comes to the issue of calling Texas workers lazy, what is that about?
Yeah, so he totally distorted that also. So I was down in the valley. I was meeting with some farmers down there, and this farmer was telling me about the 60% of the H-2A workers that he was using. And he said, these guys are like the Marines, and they walk into the field and they just get it done. He said, really the biggest challenge I have with American workers are they're wanting to drink beer by 10 o'clock. And he said, we have lost the work ethic in America. And so what I said when Sid and I were debating was, ever since COVID, and Sid's never been an employer. I had 150 employees, and so I know. But ever since COVID, there's been a major deficit of work ethic in America. We need to reinvigorate and reinstall that. And so the H-2A program is something that's critical for farmers to be able to utilize to be able to get the labor that they need, because that's the biggest challenge in agriculture right now. And so once again, Sid takes something and just takes a partial snippet and distorts it, because they are losing and they are desperate and they're wanting to say anything that they can to try to pull people to his side, because no one's on his side. Everybody's bailing to our side.
When it comes to changes that you would make with inside the Ag Commissioner's office, what are some of the priorities for you and what you want to do different than the current office holder?
Well, one, I wouldn't have felons heading up the agency like Todd Smith, who is a convicted felon who was defrauding farmers. And this is, my deal that I did a podcast was 2012. Sid, in this, November of 2024, his then campaign consultant pled guilty after the Texas Rangers arrested him for having $150,000 wired to his account by farmers who wanted to get a hemp license. He told everybody that there would just be 15 hemp licenses, which was $100 from TDA. But if you want to make sure you got one, send them $25,000 and they'll get one. So they arrest Todd. They charge him with a felony, commercial bribery. And then they subpoena Sid Miller to testify against Todd in November of 2024. But that would kind of be a bad look to have the Ag Commissioner testify against his campaign consultant. And so Todd pled guilty. And when he pled guilty, I guess being he couldn't be a lobbyist any longer with a felony. And I guess there's a higher standard being a lobbyist than there is a chief of staff at the Texas Department of Agriculture. But he was out of work. So Sid hired him as the head of the TDA, the very organization overseeing the people that they defrauded, and gets paid $218,000 a year, which is where he is today. So when I'm the Ag Commissioner, we're not going to have criminals, running different aspects of the business inside of TDA. And we're going to have a farmers-focused, not commissioner-focused organization that's there to serve and help farmers and ranchers not just stay in business, but thrive in business, and to make it about them. And we're there to serve farmers and ranchers and help them be successful in cleaning up the food that we all eat.
I think it was last week, and I know you've talked about this before, or at least touched on it a little bit in the past, and that is school lunches. And I guess, making them healthier, or at least changing, the look of school lunches. What is your idea behind that?
It's funny, Chad. The other day I went and Googled, what do kids eat in Italy in public school? And then what we what we feed kids in Texas. And it is vastly different. I mean, typically a school lunch program is a chocolate milk, a square piece of pizza, or some mystery meat. And these kids just look at it and throw it away. Everywhere I go. Even today, I had some woman come up with her 2 children, and she's the school nurse, and they were complaining about the school lunch program, begging me to change it. We are 44th in the nation in nutritional value of the school lunch program in 2024. 44th. One of the very first things that Sid Miller did when he got in is it's called cupcake amnesty, to where he allowed cupcakes, sweets, sodas, and fryers to come back into schools. So here we are 10 years later with we're 41st in the nation in education. We're 44th in nutritional value. And you think those things are connected? Absolutely. And so we're going to go in, we're going to totally change that lunch program and make it healthy and nutritious and ensure that we are feeding kids properly so they can study and be focused at school and not distracted because of all the sugar that we're feeding them.
So are you saying you'd get rid of all the sugary drinks and the cupcakes and the bake sales and all that go on?
Now, listen, I'm not going to get tactical on exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to have a vision and a goal of being in the top 10 at the end of our first term. And so I'll rely upon experts to come back to us and say, this is what we think we should do. And we'll go look at best of class, both in the United States and abroad, and figure out what it is that people are feeding their kids in the school system and to ensure that they're performing well. Because we need to be, going back to the whole labor issue in America, we need to make sure that we are putting out the best, most educated, most focused kids to be able to go make an impact for our country, because there are too many adversarial countries that are coming against us, and our kids are the future. I mean, it's not just a Whitney Houston song, it's the reality. And so we need to ensure that we're doing everything that we can to help set these kids up for success, because there's so much against them. We have AI coming at us. Who knows how that's going to impact our young people going forward into the future? So the governor's focus is wanting us to be number one in the nation in education, and I totally support that. So let's come alongside of them, make sure that we're feeding them all the appropriate food that helps them get to be number one in the nation in education.
Yeah. Just real quick on the issue of school lunches, I've heard this talked about before. I haven't done my own independent research on it, but I'll ask you, because you're talking about making school lunches healthy again and all that kind of good stuff. I've seen or heard about, I guess, some studies out there that say, well, if kids are eating too early in the day, that by the time the afternoon rolls around, some of these kids, especially younger kids, they're getting hungry, they're losing focus, whatever it may be. Should there be like I hate to say, should we talk about snack time in schools? But should there be a nutritious, hey, if you want a couple of slices of apple, maybe later in the day, why not? And have something like that. I mean, do kids learn better if they're having something nutritious even in the afternoon?
Well, absolutely. I think that we've seen that science proves that our bodies react according to the food that we eat. And so we need to stimulate brain activity, with protein and not with sugars. And so, not that an apple is a sugar, but, an apple is a great illustration of a snack that a kid could have in the middle of the day. And, yeah, I think we do need to get back to snack time. And I'm sure both you and I can remember, going back to snack time when we were in school. But it was something that your brain needs, because as you're ingesting, you're processing those foods and you're getting energy, that drives the synapses firing, all those things that allow us to be able to focus and perform well in school.
Yeah. Nate, tell folks, give them the final pitch as we're in the final week of early voting, and then we've got Election Day coming up. Why do they need to vote for you?
Listen, we cannot afford another 4 years in the state of Texas under my opponent. This week, we lost 68 farms in Texas, and last week and the week before, I was down just meeting with a rice farmer a couple weeks ago, and he told me that he had just sold his crop for 40% less than it actually cost him to make it. We talk about sustainability in agriculture all the time. It's not sustainable. That when a farmer or a rancher sells their crop or their product for actually less than it cost them to make it, we're going to continue to become reliant upon our adversaries. Our current leadership at the Texas Department of Agriculture is plagued with ethic issues, with criminality, with distracting people away, focusing on himself, not on agriculture, not on farmers, not coming alongside. I've been endorsed by Governor Greg Abbott. I've been endorsed by the Land Commissioner, Don Buckingham. I've been endorsed by Senator Charles Perry, who's the head of the Senate Ag. He's the chairman of the Ag Committee. I've been endorsed by the Texas Farm Bureau, the Texas Cattle Raisers, the Texas Cattle Feeders, the Cutting Horse Association, Wildlife Association, the Forestry Association, because everyone knows that we cannot afford another 4 years to have someone who is essentially a clown, a rodeo clown, leading the Texas Department of Agriculture.
Nate Sheets, before I let you go, I just have to say, you brought up the farms that are going out of business here in Lubbock. I'm sure you heard about this. The feed
closed
yard.
The feed yard.
Yeah.
70-year-old feed yard.
Yeah, and it's done.
Under the watch of my opponent. He has no idea how to help fix things and correct things and get things headed in the right direction.
Yeah, it's going to impact so many different businesses.
It's horrible.
It's very sad for our region. It's going to be. I think it's going to have a major impact on things
Chad,
out
we
here.
used to have a textile mill there in Lubbock where 40% of the world's cotton is grown.
Yeah.
We need to have a textile mill. We have 2 in the United States now. The way we feed ourselves in America, the way we process our cotton, the way we process our forestry products, we are now reliant upon our adversaries to be involved in feeding us in America. There's 4 meat packing companies. 2 of them are owned by Brazilian companies, and we have to do it differently. It's a national security issue, and so this isn't just about cowboy dress up and looking like a cowboy. It's about getting in there and fixing real issues to save the future of agriculture, not just in Texas, but in America.
Nate Sheets, NateSheets.com for more information. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, brother. Talk to you later.
Thank you. That's Nate Sheets. He's running for Texas Ag Commissioner. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio. The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.